Welcome back guys, welcome back to the channel, and today in this video I am going to show you how to crush the Alekhine defense as white. And now let's get to it. So here I have the board setup, and this is a series where I am going to teach you guys top 10 responses to first move e4, and which will help you take your preparation to another level. Yes, I hope you're liking this series, and now we are going to look at how to crush the Alekhine defense. So this opening comes in at number 8 to top responses. Let's get started. First move, we are white, we are going to play the move e4. Now this is at number 8 the Alekhine defense, which continues after e4, knight f6. This here knight f6 is not a very common move, but it is very provocative because black tries to provoke white into playing a lot of pawns in the center early on in the game. Yes, so yeah, let's see what happens in this position. We'll see what happens next.
Okay, we'll see what happens next.
e5, we'll go for the main line here, e5, and now the knight jumps to d5. e5, after e5 the d5 square is not protected, so knight comes to d5. Now here there are quite a lot of ways white can play. In the first way, what white can do is push the pawns to d4, c4 and go for the 4 pawns attack, or he can play a very normal opening like knight f3. But before that, here for e4, knight f6, a very normal modest way of playing here is the move knight to c3, and then for e5 playing the move knight f3. Two knights opening, normal play, nothing much. But we are going to look at the main variation: e4, knight f6, e5, knight to d5. Now as I said, there are many ways to continue here. We look at the main move, which is d4. D4 is the main move here, most common in the sense. Now, or else what white can do here is go for the attack and play the move c4. Now we will focus on d4. However, this variation also kind of leads to the similar position here. This is a normal play, and I think if black is prepared, both can play a normal game. Here after knight d5, white goes for the move d4. Now black might argue here that the e5 pawn is weak. Not now, but if black makes it to the end game, then this e5 pawn can be weak, and black is obviously going to try and break the center because the e5 pawn is kind of frustrating for black to play with. So d4, d6, attacking the center. Now white needs to make a decision here, either to play the move knight to f3 or play the move c4, kicking away the knight, or just to capture in the center. We'll look at knight f3 first, but here you need to be careful here because after bishop to g4, the knight is attacked by the bishop and the e5 pawn is kind of threatened. Be careful while choosing to play knight f3. And here, instead of bishop g4, black can as well capture d cross e5, knight cross e5 and play c6. This variation is played by Carlsen a lot, and it gives quite good results for black, and for white you need to be prepared well. That is the main point here. We saw e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5, d4, d6. Okay, now c4, white goes for c4. White can also take e cross d6, it's a normal move, but maybe black can capture with the e pawn, with the c pawn. I think black will capture with the e pawn, bring the bishop to e7, castle, and until then knight f3, bishop d3, castle. Both will have a fair position to continue, but we look at the main move, that is c4. Now here after c4, what happens here is knight can go back to b6. But what we are going to look at here is, I was talking about knight f3, playing knight f3, a very annoying main line which does not lead to very interesting positions. We will continue looking into it. Bishop g4, I said the knight is attacked. You can play bishop e2, e6, castle, bishop e7, c4, knight b6, normal development, knight c3, castle, bishop e3. We'll look into it later on, but now I'm just giving you an overview of what can happen. This is the main line actually, but not the most common move. Here we saw e5, knight d5, d4, d6, c4 and knight to b6. Now there are multiple ways. Again, e cross d6 is a way to continue. Interesting lines will develop, and I'll encourage you guys to look into more games in these variations to get a better understanding. But today we are going to look at the 4 pawns attack, which is followed after the move f4. Now here in this position, white is having a very strong center and all its pieces can develop very easily. See, all the pieces are getting open fine. No problem here for white. So after f4, black will capture the e5 pawn, f cross e5, not d cross e5. You don't want to play that because this position is not good enough for white to play. You can try it, but f cross e5 is the main move. Knight c6, attacking the e5 pawn. Now if you play d5, knight to c5, the pawn is hanging.
Don't play the move d5, guys.
Now you can just play the move bishop to e3, supporting the d4 pawn. This pawn is being supported by the bishop, then you can play the move knight f3. Although you might think that for knight to c6, you can play the move knight to f3. But again, as I said, bishop g4 is a threatening move because the d4 pawns, as highlighted here, is under attack. You need to be careful. Or for knight c6, you can play d5
and blunder the pawn and lose the game.
which you don't want to do. So we'll look at bishop e3, bishop f5, normal development. The idea is to go c6 and then bring the bishop out. Knight to c3, strengthening the center, e6. Now knight f3, this is normal development, bishop e7. And now white's point here is white gets to play and develop in the center. So black, so the direct white's option only here is to play in the center with the move d5, trying to press the opponent before he can get a chance to castle on either sides of the board. White is just going for the kill because
As the name suggests, 4 pawns attack.
you have to go for the kill here. So d5, e cross d5 only move. Although you can play knight to b4, but not a good move. Not a good move. E cross d5. Let's look at it. This is a common move. You can play knight b4, but it leads to not very interesting positions. E cross d5, c cross d5, knight b4. Now black is planning to jump here after knight b4 to jump to the c2 square. Here knight c2 4, grabbing the rook. Now what white can do is simply play the move knight to d4, supporting the c2 pawn as well as threatening the bishop on f5. Here black needs to be careful because after a random bad move like bishop to g6, white will play the move bishop to b5. You can't push the pawn because it will get captured and then you might lose very quickly. So black has to play king f8
And this loses the opportunity to castle.
this is not a good move. As I said, black needs to be careful here. So for knight d4, bishop to d7, blocking the check on the b5 square. Now since everything is protected, white will go for the kill. As I said again, white's only point here is to play in the center and get a good play before it can give a chance for its opponent to castle and safeguard its king. White goes e6, not wasting any time here, going for the attack. F cross e6, d cross e6, bishop to c6. Now this e6 square, e6 pawn, as I said, is very strong. It is controlling the f7 and the d7 square. Although black can castle, but the bishop will jump onto c4 in the future and there will be a massive attack going on. This pawn, as I said, might be weak in the future only if black makes it to the endgame because none of the pawns are here to support. But generally, if black is well prepared, then only black can reach to the endgame, or else the black player will get crushed. And let me make this clear: black or white will get crushed if they make a blunder in the opening, because these are very crazy lines and you need to be careful. As I said, for bishop g6, bishop b5 comes. Now king f8 is forced, and this is not a good position because after rook to f1 or maybe even castle, the f7 pawn is attacked. E6 is following up, queen f3. Massive attack can be launched on the opponent king. We are looking at the main move e6, f cross e6, d cross e6, bishop to c6. Now white again cannot waste any moves. Queen to g4. Now here white is allowing to give a check, but after king d2, knight plus a1, queen can capture here. Everything is fine. White will just win. So queen to g4. Now black here, it is a very interesting move. This is a brilliant move from black to defend the g7 pawn, at the same time trying to get some counter play. I'd encourage you to pause this video now for about 5 to 10 seconds and try to think of the solution. Okay, so I hope you guys pause the video and try to think of the move. The move here is bishop to h4 check. Now king, if it goes to d1, then fine, the knight is pinned and then black can defend this pawn. And for king d1, let me show you. For king d1, black will make the move castle, and now black is the one in the upper hand and white has lost all of his attack. The king is stranded on d1, not a good position for white. So, for bishop h4 check, again a weird move from white. White plays the move g3. This is all theory. This variation has been played a lot of times. I have checked and I am preparing this material by checking games on chessbase. Multiple games I have gone through. This is the common reply. g3 here. White is allowing black to capture the h1 rook. Black captures the h1 rook. Here black is materialistically up, but white has a fantastic position because all its pieces are well coordinated. This rook, however, not looking too good, but all the minor pieces are attacking. The g7 square is weak, and yes, this is a very
Crazy position, yeah?
because white is a whole rook down at the moment, but white has an epic position which he can try to convert for the victory. Here again you might think the best move is to capture g cross h4, but to your shock, the best move here is long castle. Long castle trying to get a nasty discovered attack by playing the move knight to f5. It is a very nasty move because the g7 pawn will be hanging, there will be a check, the queen will be attacked on the d8 square. Everything is coordinated. The only rook which I was telling had a problem on a1 is now on the open file, and now black has to face some serious threats. Okay, let's see how black responds. Black plays the move queen to f6, simply moving away from the discard attack. Now just take the material g cross h4. Black goes for long castle. So this is an interesting position. Again, I'll encourage you guys to look into more games. And yeah, this is a very crazy position. The 4 pawns attack. It can get you an, let me repeat, it can get you an early victory from both the sides if your opponent chooses to play f4, or if you play f4 and the opponent does not know how to reply. So it is my sincere suggestion that you look into this variation and try to look at multiple games in the 4 pawns attack. And yeah, this you have to be careful from both the sides, and this is a very interesting position. Let me tell you again, you can blow black off the board from the very start of the game, and black should be careful. White gets a very interesting position, and I think white is having the upper hand here. We'll look at the main move, knight f3, not a very good move. I prefer personally to go for the 4 pawns attack. You guys can tell me what is your preference in the comment section. In this position, I'd say if you are playing a lower rated opponent, then surely you can win this match. Against a higher rated opponent who is prepared though, black can manage and get a draw. It is all up to you. Queen f6, g cross h4, castle. You just need to be confident, guys. Maintain your confidence level even if it is higher rated opponent, and you can go for the win. Again, I'll encourage you guys to look into more games and get a better understanding, because you can get a victory very early on with any opponent if they are not well prepared. So yeah, this was the Alekhine Defense for you guys, and how to crush the Alekhine Defense. I hope you learned something from this video. Leave a like, share this video with your friends, and comment down what I should do next. I am continuing this series, and we'll get to find out the best response for black against the move 1e4. Until then, thank you for watching, thank you for leaving a like, thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.